Greetings, fellow seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is Reverend Eliot, your friendly neighborhood esoteric practitioner, coming to you live from the city of New York, where we get together every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and those are the cards being shuffled, 8 Pacific. So we're gonna sit here and look through the magical window for the next hour, and that's pretty good because you know what that means? An hour with no politics. What is going on here that now every time we turn around, it's an election season? Have you noticed there's no it doesn't abate. There's no time off. It's every time you turn around, we're in a constant state of somebody's running for office for something. And the presidential elections, I mean, this began a year ago. There's people already debating the elections are not for over a year now. I mean, come on, folks, this is ridiculous. I mean, is there not enough stuff going on in the world that these cable news stations have to invent debates and things like that among people who you're not going to, look, you know it and I know it. Most people don't really pay attention to this until just before the election. And why? Why not? I mean, the summer isn't even over. It's still the summer of 2023, and we're talking about the election being just before winter of 2024. So come on, folks. We're going to go an hour without it, and that's the beautiful thing because, let me tell you this. We're only about, I think, looking at my timetable, we're about 2 weeks, 3 days, and 45 seconds away from somebody saying, this is the most important election of our lifetime. Now, come on. When have you not heard that? So it's not that I'm putting all this down, but I'm putting all this down. This is just ludicrous. They've turned it into a 365 day a year sport, and it's ridiculous. It's unbecoming to see 80-year-old people gabbling about how good they are and how bad everyone else is and what they're going to give you, and nobody believes them anyway. And this is going to go on and on and on. And the people who make the commercials are going to make a lot of money. And, the people who make the commercials they don't believe in anything. They're just guns for hire. I know. I used to be among them. I worked with a lot of those people in my years in journalism. They don't care. They just don't care. So what we're looking at is now, you see, in the 1980s, cable discovered stand-up comedy, and then stand-up comics were every place. And then that kind of waned, and then we got fashion models. Remember those? And I can honestly say, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but I spent time among fashion models, and I think my brain atrophied. So, but then that was the big thing. And then it became real housewives as opposed to you phony housewives, so then it didn't take long for them to discover politics. And politics has long been, I wish I knew who first said this, but it goes back decades. Somebody referred to politics as show business for ugly people. And, show me where that's wrong is what I say. But that's, this is nonstop now. This is just insane. It's nonstop. And the whole gig is scare the hell out of people. This is the end of democracy as we know it if you don't vote right. This disease will destroy us. The whole 9 yards. Everything is your car is going to destroy the planet that's been here for billions of years. You know what I tell people? Look, okay, we may not be doing the planet any good, but we're not really putting the planet in any risk at that point. We're doing okay. No country on the face of the earth has cut its carbon emissions more than the United States, and we're only responsible for about 14% of the carbon emissions in the world. But they have to scare you. They have to get you. Now they got you scared of wildfires that they say are happening because the temperature of the earth is a quarter degree hotter. Come on, please. I mean, did you ever cook something? And I mean, of course you cook things, but I mean, did you ever cook something and have somebody say, that is a delicious steak, but if you had made the oven 1/4 of a degree hotter, it would have been perfect? No. But it's all about scaring you. And I'm going to say it again. I talk about it all the time, and I wish I didn't have to, but I will. There's a book that you can get at mojoacademy.org, mojoacademy.org, and it is called Unmasking Fear. This is a book that predates mass media. So it was from 1919. Now, I have written a foreword and an introduction, and I've updated that part of the book to show how it's relevant to today. And I truly look. I'll give you an example. You know the the Music Man, where the guy comes into a perfectly peaceful little town, and he riles it up by getting them terrified of what's going to happen because of a pool table, and then he sells them a cure. That is politics these days. And it can't say it's only these days, of course, because that show goes back many years. But the book Unmasking Fear, in one of the introductions, I analyze the Music Man in terms of the way fear is used to sell us almost everything. You know, I've got a wonderful book that I don't really talk about that much because, you know, it kind of sounds silly, but it's a book that shows men how to not only get the best shave of their life, the closest, cleanest, most wonderful shave, but how to use shaving as a form of meditation and relaxation, believe it or not. And you can look that up too, and that's also at mojoacademy.org. Just, you know, check out the page on shaving. But I bring that up because in that book, I show ads from the early history of Gillette, which specifically are concentrating on the Depression era, where they scare people into buying their blades, their razor blades. It's fear, you know. A guy has like this ridiculous 5 o'clock shadow, which, you know, looks like it was painted on by a guy who used to work in minstrel shows or something. And he looks forlorn and dejected. And his wife says, "You didn't get the job, did you?" You know, because you're a slob. That's why you didn't shave, right? And of course now, all kinds of men think that they're manly if they go a few days without shaving, that the stubble looks really manly. It really did an awful lot for the for the love life of Harvey Weinstein. I love those shots of him, you know, before he was locked up with a stubble, trying to look sexy in the morning, you know. But fear, it's about fear. And you are going to see a fear-a-palooza when in the next year and 2 months, when the lead up to the election. And this is what they do. And then as soon as the election is over, there'll be more fear. And then as soon as the person who wins is sworn in, there'll be even more fear. And then you know what they'll do? They'll start the impeachment proceedings against whoever wins. And then they'll start the 2028 election cycle will start officially then. And it's to keep us all in a state of fear. Now, you look at major network television news, and I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just doing that parenthetically. And you'll see that almost all of the ads for there are pharmaceuticals to relieve stress, strain, and depression. Now, what is the news except if a business designed to give you stress, strain, and depression? It sounds like my law firm, by the way, you know. Good evening, stress, strain, and depression. Can I help you? No. Don't do that. Don't let them do that. And I'm serious about this. I am not joking when I say it. The book I'm talking about is Unmasking Fear. It is very important because, you know, I remember in grade school, I loved elementary school. I really did. I adored elementary school because I was learning how to read, and I knew that the key to everything lay in reading and writing. And yet there were other little kids around me who were terrified. They were afraid of being left back. They were afraid that somebody else was going to get a higher grade than they did. They were afraid of the report cards. So there's a system designed to fill us with fear from the very beginning. I'm going to tell you a story which I find fascinating because for a couple of years before high school, after elementary school, before high school, and then the middle school, you know, like junior high area, I went to a private school for a few weeks. I'm laughing because I've been expelled from so many private schools. I was thrown out of one school in 2 weeks, and that was on my first day in that school. I said to a friend of mine, "I'm not going to make it 2 weeks in this place." But before that, I was in a private school, believe it or not, for actors. for children who were actors, and I was able to skate by and get in there because I had done television commercials as a little child, and these were not fear-oriented television commercials. They were, just showed like a family drinking Bosco and a family eating Campbell's soup, and it was generally me and my sister and my mother because my father was in the advertising business, and I guess it saved money to put the family in there. But I was in a school for children. I went to school with some famous people, and I remember recess the first day. Everybody was standing around at lunchtime. We had mugs. Nice ceramic mugs of Campbell's chicken and rice soup. You see, this is the kind of detail that sticked. Thank you. That's very good. I just, I loved learning how to read and write, and then I used the word sticked. This is the kind of detail that stuck in my mind because it was just so bizarre. There were little kids. I mean, little kid, not even 11 years old, standing there like they're at a cocktail party, holding their little mug of Campbell's chicken and rice soup, and they're talking about the auditions they went on. And I remember, now you can look this up, the name of the TV show I'm about to mention, and you'll see what time period I'm talking about. One little kid said to the other, this is a 10-year-old, I just read for a part in Slattery's People, but I'm not going to get it because Dick Crenna doesn't like me. Now, these are 10-year-olds. They're already living in this world of being afraid of things not working out. I just, this is probably why I've made it my life mission to eradicate fear. Not that I'm fearless, and not that fear is bad, mind you. Fear is good. Fear is very good. Fear is the evolutionary method to keep us alive in many ways. Whenever you have something that a human being does, you have to ask yourself, what is the evolutionary advantage of this? Why do we have it? Fear. What is the evolutionary advantage in fear? Fear tells you that you're in a dangerous place. You'd be a dope not to have fear. Now, constant fear is terror. And you remember the war on terror. Did you ever in your life see anything quite as terrifying as the stuff that came out during the war on terror? I mean, everything was about, your water supply is going to get poisoned. This is going to happen. That's going to, oh man, it's just hideous. But yes, it's the same thing with anger, you see. Now, there's something else that maybe I'll do a book about anger one day. Anger is the evolutionary value of anger is that anger is the feeling that says to you, you've been mistreated. There's nothing wrong with that. Otherwise you're a doormat. Now, I remember as a little child, I was upset with something that my parents did, and I turned around to them and I said, I am sick and tired of you doing this to me. Where did I get that expression? I've heard my parents use it, and I figured that's what you use to express discontent. And of course, I was sent to my room, This is terrible when it's like declawing a cat. You can't beat the anger out of little kids because anger is important. And without anger, you're a doormat. Now, constant anger, that's rage. And you don't want rage. I've never heard the government come out with a war on rage because they want to keep you angry. There's two things that governments do all the time. This is nonpartisan, so I'm not going to get into parties. I'm not going to get into my country is better than your country. I'm just telling you that governments do this. You see, if you look at every nation, the name for the country in their language and the name for everyone else in their language is generally translates into there's us and there's everyone who's not us. This is where you get like Auslanders. Everything is divided into us and them. And what does that mean? That means they're born on the other side of a dividing line on a map. And that makes them, and you. And that is exploited. The poor people here have had to be going without an enemy ever since the Soviet Union collapsed. That was a great enemy to have, man. We had the Cold War for years. That motivated people. People cheered when the Russians lost in the Olympics. Yay, all of that stuff. And then they were gone. Then the Union of Soviet Socialists was gone. Now, I want you to think back of the years from Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall to today, and you'll see that there's been almost a never-ending search for an enemy in our society. Sometimes it's one country, sometimes it's one movement, other times it's a disease, because the belief is, and I was really tight with a lot of government people for years. They truly believe that they're doing a good thing by getting people scared and angry because that unifies us. And for them, unity is good. And I want you to remember one rule again, and this is not partisan politics, this goes across the board. In politics, the word unity means do it my way. Okay, so there you go. But we're coming into the home stretch for this presidential campaign, and it's going to be weird. This one especially, and it's coming into the home stretch, and it still has over a year to go. And I don't want you to be frazzled and made upset and made crazy and made scared and made angry because of somebody who will profit off you feeling that way and me feeling that way. It's not just you, obviously. I'm not exempt, but I have a little bit of an edge because I read Unmasking Fear. And I was so impressed with that book that when they found out it was in the public domain, my company republished it. And there's a book, a lot of these books, one of the things I love about reissuing forgotten books is designing an interesting cover. Well, this one, I didn't do a damn thing, folks. I gave it the same cover, It is beautiful. And check that out at mojoacademy.org. It's called Unmasking Fear. If you go to Reverend Eliot's tarot page at Facebook, you'll see an announcement for that book right at the top. I have it pinned to the top of the page. And I am deadly in earnest about this. If there's one thing that I would like to accomplish in my life, it's to have helped people realize when the fear that you feel and the anger that you feel is not yours. Somebody put it there. Somebody put it there for their own benefit. Get angry if somebody treats you badly. Get fearful if you're in a dangerous situation, but do not live in fear and do not live in anger. And that's what they want, is when you live in fear and when you live in anger, bad things happen to your body. I'm going to tell you a scientific fact right now. Fear shuts down your immune system. Fear, I'll say it again, shuts down your immune system because the blood, when you're in fear, the human body throws adrenaline into your system, and that takes the blood and sends it into your arms and your legs and gets your heart going to pump it more and more. Arms and legs, because fear, you get put into what's called fight or flight syndrome. So you're ready to either fight your way out or run like hell. That leaves precious little blood for your brain, for thinking. Okay, now you know why advertisers love to use fear. Nobody, I don't care if you're Einstein, nobody thinks rationally when they're afraid. They just don't. I'll give you a perfect example of this. Any self-defense, any martial artist will tell you this. People will grab a gun and run away. People will grab a knife and run away from somebody with a gun if they're attacked that way. The worst thing you can do when somebody has a knife, if you don't know how to do it, is grab for the knife. If you're a trained martial artist, that's like taking the Tootsie Roll from a baby. But you can really get yourself seriously hurt. It's exactly the opposite. Run from a knife because it's virtually impossible to stab you while running after you. And every time they attempt it, you'll just keep getting further away. And running away from a gun just gives a person time to level it and aim at you. But you see, in fear, you don't think. In fear, you see the gun and you want to run. In fear, you see the knife and you want to grab for it. Wrong, see. This is why you have to be trained to fight if you want to fight. If not, there's nothing cowardly about running away if you're faced with something deadly. That's why evolution made it so that when you're in fear, your legs and your arms get stronger. So this is the point I'm making, and this is important. And this is I'm almost evangelical about this. Don't let somebody keep you in a state of fear. I mean, I've seen people paralyzed with fear at election time because they don't know what to do. They're so terrified that the whole world is going to end. And look at these people who think that the planet is going to end in 4 years. And I just tell them, look, man, the planet is a self-adjusting ecosystem. It'll take care of itself. And if the human beings are a threat to the planet will just become inhospitable to human beings and we'll all die off. Okay, that's it. The planet doesn't care. The planet has all the time in the world. Remember that. The planet has all the time in the world. This is just more stuff to keep you and me in a state of chronic fear. And there are people now crying and screaming and killing themselves because they think the world is going to end in 2 years. Now, these are the same people who will tell you that they're not religious. But this idea about killing yourself because the world is going to end has long been associated with religious fanatics. So, that's two and that's two. And if you don't get four, that's, I am not going to tell anybody how to think. I'm not telling you not to be afraid. I'm not telling you not to be angry. I'm just saying if you suddenly find yourself afraid of something that a couple of weeks ago you never even heard of, chances are you got a Madison Avenue mugging. The advertisers are scaring you. The marketers are scaring you. Don't do that, okay? That's not good for your health. Again, they scared the bejabbers out of people over this virus. And yet, fear destroys your immune system. Does that make sense? Does that in any way make sense? It makes sense to somebody because they did it. So they did it for a reason. The question is why? Why did they do it? And I leave that for historians. All I know is I'm not afraid. I mean, I had the disease in April of 2020, so I'm cool. I'm not going to get it again. I don't care what they say. I'm not getting it again. It's just that's the way it goes. I had measles in 1964. I never got it again. That's how it worked. You want to feel old? This is how I know. This is when I felt old. I mentioned that to a doctor a couple of years ago, and she looked at me and said, "You actually had measles?" like I'm a relic, Oh man. So anyway, this is Reverend Eliot's sermon for the day, and I want you to do this, and I'll be watching. And I'm counting. I'm taking names. You see, there's fear, right? Isn't that a fear tactic? I'm watching you. I'm not watching you. I'm not at all. I want you to order a copy of Unmasking Fear. It will be a great, great, great addition to your life. Even if you know these things I'm saying, just read the book, because this is a guy who wrote it, Lloyd Kenyon Jones, was a prolific writer of the teens into the 1930s. He wrote Hunches, the best book I ever read on psychic abilities. That's there too. That's for later. Right now, I think we're in a state of emergency because as we slide into Labor Day is coming, so that's the end of the summer. And then we slide into the election year again. And there's people who are just going to do whatever they can to scare you and keep you scared until November of 2024. You don't want to live like that. It's very bad. It's very bad for your whole system and your outlook. And life is beautiful. Life is and I don't care what these people try to tell you. There's not a damn thing scary about life. There might be some incidents in life that are not pleasant, but hey, we grow from that stuff. But this idea that life is something to be terrified of, forget it. Just don't. It's beautiful. Hey, I get to meet you people. I get to chat with you. I can't go out without people stopping me. They see the button that I'm wearing. I have the little, and if you want some of those buttons, just drop me a line at asktaro@earthlink.net and I'll send you some. I've got some Reverend Eliot show buttons. Now that they generally ask me what that is. And every once in a while, somebody will say, "Is that you?" And I say, yes, it's me, except I'm not as good looking in person as I am on the radio. So look, life is beautiful, and there are paid professionals out there who make literally millions and millions of dollars to make you and me scared. Let's put them out of business, huh? You remember that Star Trek episode where the Klingons and the Star Trek Enterprise crew, they defeat the bad guys just by laughing and having a good time? You see, there's something in that. So let's go back to the basics here. I've talked a lot today, partly because I missed last week's show. And for those of you, thank you so much for all the wonderful wishes you sent about my wife. I missed last week's show because I needed to help her out. She's been sick. This is the second time in like 40 years that she's been sick with a cold. So I had to take care of her. She's not used to these things. It was a kind of bad cold, but it's much better now. And she wanted me to say thank you for all the wonderful well wishes that you all sent. But that left me being chatty. So let's stop eating into the time and just go to mojoacademy.org. Check out Unmasking Fear. You'll thank me. And now let's ring a bell 3 times to declare sacred space and get in some tarot reading, because that's what I'm here for. And now slowly we pull back the curtain on the magical window and we go to Nicole in Pomona, California. Hi, Nicole. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. How are you tonight, Nicole?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm a little talky today, but I keep forgetting it's about you. You know, it's not about me. So let's see what we can read for you in the cards. How's that? What would you like to look at?
Can I get just a general reading?
Sure. What would you like to know? Anything in particular, or just see what the cards show?
Let's just see what the cards show.
Okay, I will tell you what I can. I'll pull out a few cards, and I'll tell you what I think the indications are, and then you can tell me if that fits things that are going on.
Okay.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. This is very good. I have the 2 of rods and the 2 of coins. Now these are cards about waiting for something to develop, waiting for something to happen. One in terms of career and work and business, the other in terms of money. The 2s are a duality. So, you know, it's about juggling money. It's about waiting for something you did to bear fruit. And then I have the 8 of Swords, which says that you kind of feel stuck where you are right now. Now, tell me if I'm on the right or wrong track here.
Oh, yes, you're on the right track.
Okay, which of these things is more important to you? Because you got cards, you got rods, which are career life, coins, which are money, which of course are linked to career, and then you have swords, which is about mental activity and thoughts and the head, you know, as opposed to those thoughts in the feet, right? You know, I mean, I remember there are people who thought that thought came from the liver. So what can you do? Maybe it does. So what would you like to explore?
My career.
Okay, now I got 2 cards here that are interesting. You got another sword card here, by the way. You got the Ace of Swords, and in terms of career, the Ace of Swords means you're seeing things in a new way. It means a new way of thinking, that your mind is growing and your point of view is changing. Is that correct?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, the next card is really important because it's excellent. It's the 10 of Cups. That's a card of perfected happiness. That's a card of joy. That's a card of family and health and happiness and joy. I mentioned joy, but yes, that's very much there. That means that you're coming to a place where you're going to be very happy. You're kind of deciding about which way to go at this point. The 2 of Rods and the 2 of Coins indicate that there's 2 different paths you could take. The 8 of Swords is you're not sure which way to go yet, but these 2 cards say, trust your mind, trust your thoughts, that your thoughts are good. The Ace of Swords meaning a new way of thinking, and the 10 of Cups validating that by saying, whatever you do is going to make you very happy. Oh, in fact, I have one of the happiest cards in the deck here. It's the Sun, which is health and healing and growth. If you'd had any setbacks that you felt that you needed to heal from, this is it. This is the card of healing. And the Page of Swords, that's even more powerful than the Ace of Swords, because it's about the new way of thinking actually happening and applying itself, and you're using it. So it's a difficult thing when you start thinking differently. It changes a lot of things in your life, and it disappoints a lot of people who think they know you.
Yes.
I like to almost half jokingly say to people, you can always tell when you're growing as a person because old friends will leave you. They say, "What happened to you? You're not the person you used to be." And of course, you don't want to be the person you used to be. That's the point, right?
Yes.
So there you go. And I think that you're in for a really good time here because it's going to be one of growth and expansion and joy and happiness. It's just you haven't quite latched on the right path yet, but according to these cards, you will. So if you're concerned, here's good grief, the world. That's a card of assured success. Here's the death card, which doesn't mean you're going to die. It means that the one phase of your life is ending and a new phase is beginning. You are really at the cusp of a whole new you and a new that you've been working at, a new you that you've been working on and you've wanted for a long time. So you're in for a great ride here. This is going to be beautiful. So if what you were concerned about as things are changing for you is whether or not you'll do what's right, all these cards show me that you will. You will be doing what's best for you. Not right or wrong per se, but best for you. And there it is. And the Ace of Coins is here. That's the beginning of money coming in. And the Seven of Cups, that's a good card too. That's a person with a really strong imagination and has many different ideas. A lot of people think of that as someone who builds castles in the sky. I see it as a more practical thing, which is I would rather have too many ideas than no ideas at all, because you can always take one and grab it and work with it and run with it. So your mind is growing, you're filled with ideas and imagination, and that's what's going to give you the Ten of Cups and the Sun, which is healing and health, growth, happiness. You're really, it's the abundance of cards here that indicate a change for the best are so good that I'm say I have absolutely no doubt that this is going to happen soon. It's in the working now, and you're going to come out the way you wanted, the way you've always hoped it would be, I think. Okay.
Okay. And what about my love life?
Okay, let's see. I'll shuffle them up. Let's see if you get cup cards. Cups are about affairs of the heart. Well, here's the temperance card, and that has a cup in it, so I'm going to count that. Yeah. Temperance is that's things. Have you been in some bad relationships lately?
Oh, yes. Yes, I
Okay,
have.
because that's what this means is that that's going to end. Okay, that's why I asked that. Not that there's more coming. The temperance card is about balance being restored in your life. So you see, and here's the judgment card. The same. It's getting what you deserve and what you've been wanting. These cards are overwhelmingly the cards of a person who is growing positively. Um, I'm not seeing anything specific about anything in terms of romance other than balance will be restored. That was the response to the question you asked. So that's good. That means you're not going to, it's not going to be crazy time, you know? So I think that
Yes.
answers it. The idea that, that balance will be restored will lead to peace of mind, I think. And let's see if I have anything else to add to that. Pull one more card here. Well, I've got that card again, the Eight of Swords, about not knowing, about feeling stuck and not knowing where to go. Just telling me then, it's coming soon, but you just don't quite feel it yet. But you will. Nobody gets this many positive cards about growth and change and energy without something happening. So that's
Yes,
pretty
yes.
good.
I've been working on change and all that.
Well, it's going to pay off for you. I really see nothing but good stuff here. I don't see any speed bumps. I see the strength card, which shows that you have the determination and strength to do the things that you know you need to do to get what you want, and that's very good. And I don't see anything that says that immediately. Well, there we go. I was about to say there'd be some kind of romance in the offing, but here it is, the Knight of Cups. The Knights are something new coming into your life, and cups are about emotions and romance. So there's a possibility that somebody is approaching you. Now, the Knights are very tempestuous. The Knights are, on horseback. So they go up, they go down, they go left, they go right, they go all over the place. So it's just the beginning and an exciting time. But there is going to be a romance coming your way, according to that card. Just when I was about to say I don't see any indication of that, I get the Knight of Cups. It's perfect. See, this is why I think these cards are sarcastic sometimes. As soon as I think I see something, it's telling me no. So I'm about to make this grand pronouncement that I don't see anything in your immediate future about any relationship coming in there. I get the Knight of Cups, which is exactly that. So yeah, that's good. Oh, here's the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups. Yes, you're going to have, once you get all this other stuff that you're working on settled, and once you get, because that's the Judgment card I told you about, you'll be getting that which you deserve. And that includes romance, because there's the Ace of Cups. So that's good. Ace of Cups and Knight. See, the difference is with the Knight of Cups, it means it's arriving. The Ace of Cups, it's like potential. So you got both of those, which is good.
Well, that's awesome.
So that's you're headed for a really exciting time, and I know that you've been working at it, and it's going to pay off. It's just, it may feel a little frustrating. That's why I got 2 times now. I got that 8 of Swords, which is about feeling stuck where you are. But the positive movement is definitely without doubt coming. In fact, here's the 10 of Swords, which I love that card because it's an ugly looking card, but it's beautiful in its meaning. It means the worst is over. The worst is over. A lot of people think that card means the person in there has been killed, but it doesn't. It means that they've suffered a lot and they're going to get up and keep going. That the period of suffering.
Yes, I feel like I move forward and then I take like 10 steps back.
Well, that's going to change. That 10 of Swords, it's funny you say 10 steps because it's the 10 of Swords. That's the card that means it's the bad times are ending. It's gone. It's in the past. So keep positive, and when you doubt it, you can go to askonradio.com, go to August 30 under the archives for Reverend Eliot's Magical Window, and listen to this again, and you'll see it's a positive. They see people have a tendency to get a reading, feel good about it, and then kind of forget that it even happened. But because events can overwhelm you. But these are very good cards. They're excellent cards, and you ought to hear it again, okay?
Okay.
And here's the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups again. It's telling me that there's a new romance coming your way. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And also, my dad, he passed away on August 31st. Is there any, like, is he around me? Is he with me?
Let's see if I can. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get anything on that. Let me just see. Only because we did so many readings about you and your present and future. So let's just see if we can shift gears. Well, let's take these cards as a message. How's that? Because this is fascinating. First of all, I've got the Sun, which is a card I almost always get when I'm reading and somebody wants to look at a message from the spirit. And that's the Sun, which is about health and healing and growth. That's almost always there, meaning I'm in a place where I'm growing. Here's the two cards I got. The 5 of Cups and the 10 of Cups. The 5 of Cups is a card, and this means it hurts. This is hard. This is painful. A loss. It hurts. And these are about feelings and emotion. The 5 of Cups shows a person who is still dwelling on a loss and is hurt and still hurting from the loss. But there are 2 other cups that are okay. So it's a partial loss. And now this is not to say you'll get over it. You never get over this kind of thing. But right now, it's still very hard. It's still difficult. A year is not that long. The next card is about healing and health and happiness and joy, as is the Sun. So the message is, I know you're hurting, I know you're sad, but be happy, because I, the spirit, am in a place where I'm growing and healing. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye now. And let's shuffle up the cards. You're listening to Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. And we're going to get a few more readings in because I did talk a lot today, because I'm very passionate about this, about unmasking fear and about keeping fear out of our lives if it is unnecessary. Heather in Pennsylvania is next. Hi, Heather. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
Good, thank you.
Well, what can I look at for you?
Maybe my relationship.
Okay. Are you in a relationship now, or or have you been in something that
Yeah,
didn't quite work out? You're in something now, a
I'm.
relationship?
Yeah.
Because the card I have here is the Nine of Swords, which is about sadness and sorrow. Is this a difficult time in the relationship?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, of course, you know, this is one of those things where you don't really need the cards for that, because you wouldn't be asking me if everything was really okay. So
Right.
let's just see what we that's just confirmation. Uh Boy, I'm getting really mixed messages here, but it's a I've got the Nine of Swords, which says there's sadness and sorrow here. I've got the Three of Rods, which is a card about waiting for something to bear fruit, waiting for something that you're expecting. There's also the Eight of Cups, which shows me that you're thinking about leaving and ending the relationship. But that's followed by the Lovers card, and that's a very interesting card here because it's been ruined by many years of cheap movies using tarot. This is a card that means you're facing a decision right now. And I think what I'm seeing here is the decision. You're trying to consider whether you want to continue the relationship or not. Is that correct?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right? So let me just see if I can get any insight into this. Well, this is an interesting card. Is there you're not being treated well, are you?
Yeah, that's kind of the problem a little bit.
Yeah, because the Five of Swords, fives are severe in tarot. All the five cards are pretty severe, and the Five of Swords is about somebody who's you can't quite trust. Now, I'm not saying that this is saying that that is happening. It could be that that's what you feel is happening. It could mean that's what is happening. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Don't let a set of cards that are trying to amplify the situation replace your judgment. Is what I mean. But
Okay.
I'm seeing that you're not quite being treated as fairly as and rightly as you want to be. And then here's the Six of Swords, like the Eight of Cups. That's about moving on, and so I think that that's heavy in your mind right now. The Three of Coins here is about something reaching its conclusion. So the question is, has this relationship run its course?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, and I tell you something. These are the kind of readings I don't like because they're not telling you anything you don't know. You know what? And I can't tell you what to do, obviously, because if we spent an hour in a private reading, I still probably wouldn't be qualified to tell you what to do, right? But
Right.
but boy, here's that card I just had before, the Ten of Swords. That means there was a lot of bad stuff, but the bad stuff is over. Is there uh, that's saying that it's possible that the bad stuff in the relationship is ending, but of course, if you leave, that would do it too. But
Right. So I'm at a crossroads because,
yeah.
I just, you know.
See, that's the Lover's card. It's a choice that has to be made, and it's a very important choice. In broad philosophical terms, it's usually about a choice between the sacred and the profane. Now, that doesn't help either, but you have a choice to make. Let's see if I can get some kind of insight here. Well, let me put it this way. The Justice card is here. That means you will get you're not being treated justly, but you will get justice one way or the other. You're going to seek. You're going to get what you need. The Nine of Coins is here, which shows me that you're a person who can be happy alone, not like a hermit, but you're not one of these people who's got. I mean, I've known people who, if they're not out in a crowd or with other people, their life is over. But so that's a strength for you. and because you're not going to stay in a relationship you don't want out of desperation. And then there's the
Right.
Four of Rods, which is a card of a happy home, which tells me that you're going to have justice here. You're firm and confident about yourself and who you are, and you're going to make the decision that's best for you. And now that doesn't sound like much, but if you're concerned about making the wrong choice, these cards are pointing in the direction that you're going to make the choice that's best for you.
Cool. All right.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the thing is the central card here is that Five of Swords, is that somebody is not treating you well. Here's the Ace of Cups. You
Right.
see, that's the Ace of Cups means this is very important to you. This is the feeling, the love, the romance. That is important. Again, it's not so important that you'll sacrifice your life just to have it, because you're strong
Right.
enough and confident enough to be on your own if you need to. But what I'm seeing here is a person who will make the right choice. It's not a choice that we have to face, or let me rephrase that we like to face. But I think we've all faced it. And how we handle it. I used to tell people long ago that, and I was very glib about this, but I still think there's a kernel of truth in it, that like the sole value of our first love is how we handle it when it's over. So what I see here is that you're able to handle these things to protect yourself and to do what's best for you, and you're going to come out okay. You're going to do what's right. I'm going to pull one more card, and then we'll see what we could. Yep. See, the one card is the Sun. Your overall future is healing and health and growth and happiness. So you're not going to make. If you're going to make the wrong choice, that would be a very different card. So have faith in your own
Right.
ability to do this. You're going to come out of this okay. It may not be pleasant. It may not be happy, but you're going to come out of it okay. All right, that's pretty much the best I can
Yeah.
offer you at this point, because like I said, the bulk of these readings in cases like this are telling people what they already know. So I hope that helps a bit. Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for calling, and best of luck to you as you enter a really good phase in your life, because I see that coming for you.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye now. And let's get to Mariah in Baltimore. Hi, Mariah in Baltimore. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Yes.
Hi, I've got a few minutes left. What can I look at for you there in the home of the Ouija board?
I just want to know how my relationship is gonna go.
Well, I've got nothing here but good cards. I hope that's good. That's the Ten of Cups is here. That's absolute happiness and joy. The Nine of Cups is about satisfaction and enjoying all the good things in life. The Temperance card is here. It's about balance and in life. The Fool card is here. Now that's fascinating, because the card of the Fool, it doesn't mean you're a fool. It means that the person is the beloved of God, and if
Yes.
there's any negative cards in a reading, the Fool card negates them all. And here's the Sun: health and healing and growth and happiness and joy. I think, is this a new relationship?
No, we've been on and off for 6 years, but we just had our baby together 8 months ago.
Oh, well, that's a new phase in a relationship, that's for sure. I can't draw, but I knew a guy who could draw, so I asked him to do this for me. And it was a picture of a little baby in a crib, and you can see parents from the waist down standing there, because it's the angle is on the kid in the crib, and this kid who's like, maybe a few weeks old, just standing there, and he's looking up, and the caption is, "From now on, things are going to be a little different around here." And yeah, that's a new phase in a relationship, all right. And that can be a strain. It can test people. That's for sure. I don't know how my parents survived me. That's for sure. I mean, a lot of people wonder. The question is usually, how did I survive my parents? But I think that's a two-way street. I'm not seeing anything negative showing up here. and this new phase in your life as parents here with this child it looks like it's going to be very good. Yeah,
Thank
there's
you.
the Ace of Swords. I had that earlier. That's like that means thinking differently, new ways of looking at things and thinking, which of course means from now on things are going to be different around here. But yeah, no, these are all positive cards I'm getting. I think you're entering into a very good time of your life, and you have there's no negativity there. That Fool card is beautiful for that. Uh, the Six of Cups here is about fond memories of your own childhood. So that's it's. I think it looks good.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
That just gave me reassurance.
Well, congratulations too, because these are very good cards, and oh, here's the World. That's assured success. They're very happy cards, good cards, and it's nice to welcome another being to this planet, and it's a great responsibility and a great joy. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Bye bye now.
Yep.
And folks, that's it. You've come to the end of another edition of Reverend Eliot's Magical Window, and wow, that one sped by fast because, like I said, I was bloviating at the beginning there, but darn it, I am passionate about that. We had a governor here once a few years back who didn't have much of a command of the English language, oddly enough, and he used to say things like when he wanted to praise somebody, he'd say, "This guy is not only the ultimate politician, he's the penultimate politician." Not understanding that penultimate means less than it's before, it's one before the ultimate. But he would say, not only am I passionate about this issue, but I'm compassionate about it. That which makes no sense, So I think about that from time to time because words are important to me. And that's why I have so many books over at mojoacademy.org. And we like to say there is a book there that will change your life. And the one I was talking on about, please check it out. It's called Unmasking Fear. And, we're getting closer and closer to people gearing up that fear factor. It ain't just a TV show. They're gearing it up and they want to keep us afraid. And I refuse to live in fear. I really do. And I'll tell you something else. I keep reading here in the news in New York about how crime-ridden we are. And at least where I live, which is by far, it's not a gated community, that's for sure. I live just off Times Square in the theater district, and we get a lot of visitors and tourists and all. Things are just not that bad here at all. I mean, New Yorkers are notorious for not even talking to each other. But like I said, I go out and I wear that button that says Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. And if you want some of those, check out my website, and I'll put it up at my Facebook page, and you'll see how you can get some for yourself free. Free meaning free. Not like free with a $47 service charge, but free. And I'll be happy to send you some. Just drop me a line. The email is asktarot@earthlink.net. But I got to run. I've got to go. We're crawling up to the end of the show. So remember, till next time, who you are is the universe's gift to you. Who you become is your gift back to the universe. So until next week, bye-bye now.